Hey everyone, this is James Proctor, and I'm here with my friend and ex-partner Lee Cole. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. And I appreciate you bringing me on for this actual question and
Yep.
about Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, that Sammy and I have quite a bit of history over the last couple
Yep.
of years, but especially
Yes.
in the last fall.
Yeah. So what happened was on Monday, and you've seen Sammy's live. So he spent about 5 minutes going after Jeff Nadu. He was saying a lot of horrible things about him, and then threatened him and all that. And so I was just thinking, because you had firsthand experiences with Sammy, were you surprised by it? I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on it, and I actually did a short on it just after it happened as well.
Jeff, I got to say this way. About his, he's a good kid. He's a good kid, and that's the way you want to talk about him. He's one of my kids. He's on my show. I'm going to tell you something, Jeff. I would like you to come down and see me because I'm going to bust your fucking mouth wide open. I'm going to put you on your fucking knees, and I'm going to make you suck my dick. Don't with this kid. Stop. You shut your fucking mouth. Be a fucking man. You want to be a man? Don't with him. Come and with me. Come. This fucking bum. You want to knock girls who are working for me. You want to knock this fucking kid for no fucking reason. You want to knock me, knock me. You want to do something, come down. Knock my brains in. Come on. I'm sick of this fucking bum.
Yeah. So what did you think about, number one, Lee, if you remember, Sammy had, I guess, made the challenge that anyone that had a problem with him to, come to Arizona and see him. And I don't think he really thought that you would show up. And so just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Plus, he gives Jeff Nadu that same challenge. There's no way that you and Sammy, even though he invited you for an interview, he said that a couple of weeks ago. I just don't see you and him ever sitting down,
Never.
and
I rather
never
sit.
going to be any friendship.
It would never happen. See, people underestimate me. They think that, oh, I would do that. I'm one of those guys that would not do that. Sammy is the bottom of the barrel scumbag. And there is no level of lowness like Sammy Gravano. By you playing that video right there and showing Sammy, this is a 79-year-old man who could be off this earth tomorrow. And
Right.
he's telling this other guy that he will put him on his knees to make him do stuff. We did interview a while back
With Sandra
with
Petty, right?
with Sandra Petty, and Sandra Petty talked about what happened with the Rampers and
Hmm.
how he did something to a guy that he had on the ground
Hmm.
to dominate him. I believe that Sammy Gravano is a what if he's gay, God bless him, whatever floats his boat, if that's part of what's in his, he has some sugar in his tank, he has some sugar in his tank. But when you threaten to the R word somebody or Sada somebody,
Hmm. Right.
it gets to a whole different level. It seems like Sammy likes to talk about dick a lot. Whether Castellano's pumping it up and he's talking about some penis pump, or whether he's talking about Jeff Nadu in front of him on
Right.
his knees. This goes to show you people that Sammy is a killer. He will kill to the day he dies. When I went to see Sammy, if he had the opportunity, he would have killed me. People say,
Right.
why didn't you get out of your car? Why would I be that stupid? I would
Hmm.
not go in no building with Sammy and say, let's talk. There's a chance you may not come out of that building. And this is what this is about. You got to understand, you got gangsters. Sammy's not only a gangster, he's a homicidal maniac. That's what he is.
And you experienced it firsthand. The thing that a lot of people forget is that he actually wanted his son to pull you out of the car.
Yeah, and Kane Shade picked that up. You can't hear that in the video, but Kane
Yeah.
Shade picked it up and said, "Hey Lee," and it was there. You could actually hear him saying, "Pull him out of the car,"
Hmm.
and that car was my safety zone. And that's
Right.
why, because this man has no forgiveness in him. He is evil. And let me tell you how much he cares about those girls that he works for. You know, the girls that worship him.
Mhm.
Do you know their names?
Um, I think one is Anna, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and I like to say this to Anna. Okay, Anna, you sit there and you listen to this man say some of the most atrocious stuff going. And he showed you the respect by cursing like a pig and saying the words of that he wanted someone to S him, suck him off. But here's the thing. Sammy would really do that. Sammy would probably do that even if he wasn't mad, because that's what floats his boat. And the rumors have been a long time in the making. I mean, so Sammy can say whatever he wants, but there's a lot of rumors that are out there, Sammy. When you do stuff like this, it makes it look like it's more accurate that you do have some sugar in your tank, and you are a brutal man. You're a homicidal maniac, and now we know that you are a R-worder. There's no doubt about that. Because I don't know, James, did it look like to you that he was like didn't mean it? He was just saying it.
No, I mean, he was definitely angry, and I shouldn't be surprised, but there's some sort of beef that's been going on for a while between the two of them. But at the same time, Sammy's got 600,000 subs, and he's. I just don't think that there's any need to really go after a smaller channel. I mean, Jeff's got a good following, but I just don't think that that's the way to approach this at all. They have each other's email or whatever. They could, whatever beef they have, they could do it, behind the scenes. But, as a parent that Sammy, I think, was very serious.
And they often you'll hear, so who has the dumbest people in their chats, and who's the dumbest people on here? Sammy supporters. Because you think Sammy's giving you history. Sammy's giving you revised history, revised by Sammy Gravano. That's the history you're getting. And so when he does things like this, it's who he really is. It's like I said, this man brought his children and his wife into starting dealing drugs. He had no problem. His son wound up doing 8 years in prison because of his father. Think about
Right.
that. And then we can go on and on and on to things that he did. He literally destroyed his family, and his family forgave him, and they're living off his name. The name of a homicidal maniac. He is a homicidal maniac. He's not only has he killed people, he's lied to get people killed. He sat across from his best friend, Louis Melito, and watched him get shot in the head, and then lied and said Louis was on drugs and that Louis might rat. James, the funny thing is that he also said that he killed, who's that guy, Cowboy?
Oh, Nicky Cowboy. Nicky
Cowboy. Okay. And he says he killed him because he thought he was going to snitch. And then he talks about on his show that when Cowboy, his friend that he grew up with in the Rampers, when Nicky Cowboy was shot, he was dumped out of the car. Did you hear the part where Sammy said that he was so happy when he seen him killed and tossed on the ground like that?
Yeah.
He did a show on it. He said that in one of his shows. That was a guy that he grew up with. Louis Melito was a guy that he grew up with. Louis Melito saved his life, and he still killed him. And then you talk Robert DiMonardo. He brings him in. He calls him in. He goes to visit Sammy. Sammy's sitting there when I believe, wasn't it the old man that shot him in the head?
Yeah. It was Peruta.
So Peruta shot him, and he sat there and watched this. So anybody that thinks that, to me, sitting and watching a person that you call a friend be shot in the head is more evil than you doing it yourself. To me, there's no doubt about that. Because you got to look at them. You got to look at the final stage. You're not walking up behind them. You're looking them in the face. You're talking to them. You're giving them all your trust in the world. Then watching them get their head blown off. That's who Sammy Gravano is. And it's like I said, the devil's upset because he's about to be unemployed. You know, we don't know how long Sammy's going to be on this earth. I think he's such an evil guy, the devil doesn't even want him. The devil might become an angel compared to Sammy Gravano. That's
Yeah,
what
I mean, no, I mean, I understand. And so the other thing is that when anyone criticizes him, this is what happens. And he's definitely, I feel he's 100% still a gangster and dangerous. I mean, he's someone that if he could get away with it, he would still be doing those things that he did in the life. I just
Is he a
believe that.
gangster, or is he a gangster, James, or a homicidal maniac?
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
people use the term. A lot of people that were spree killers, serial killers, became gangsters because they wanted to kill. And a smart gangster would only kill when they had to kill. Sammy killed when he wanted to take over businesses. Sammy killed for greed. He didn't have to kill or have DiBernardo killed. I'm sorry, the guy from the Trade Center that he killed.
Yeah,
DeBono.
DeBono. Yeah.
DeBono. So he didn't have to have him killed. And he said he hated him. It's amazing. Everybody that Sammy shot, he had a reason. In the end, he hated them. Sammy can sit there and pretend he's all this, but Sammy knows in his heart there's no forgiveness. There's, say Sammy found God. Just say Sammy found God. Okay, so Sammy finds God, and then he changed his life. Do we have any evidence that he's changed his life, James?
Right, and that's something I wanted to actually bring up. So I asked Michael Francis that question, and so Michael told me he felt that Sammy had changed his life, that he knows his heart, and all that. And so now I'm very puzzled by that, to be honest, because I'm a Christian. I mean, I know Michael is, but whenever you said, to me, when someone finds God, they repent and they change their life. And then you have what happened on Monday happen. And that's, I mean, it's just puzzling me because I'd like Michael to see that, to be honest.
Are there?
That I had that asshole Lee, the fuck is Cole, come and try to muscle me, the stupid motherfucker. He's lucky that it's now. Years ago, I wish he would have did that. Lee Cole would have got a good example of what the mafia really is. Bro, I would have invited him right into Tally's. Come on in, Lee. Come on in and sit down. And my guys would have just smiled and said, all right, Sammy, I'm going to get the bag. You all good there. He ain't going out of Tally's no more.
Okay, so when you look at that, James,
and
then you think about Alan Kaiser.
Right.
Okay. If you want to if we're going to do a report card on Sammy Gravano and how much he's changed, he would be at a D- an F maybe,
Right.
because of the fact that he claimed that he lied several times. As you know, James, he lied and said Alan Kaiser came running at him. That was a lie.
Right.
That tried to get the gun. Then he talked about he killed a kid. He had a kid killed because he couldn't handle it that he got beat up in a bar fight. Instead of accepting his beating like a man, he went back and wanted to kill Aldo. Okay. So why don't you just go back with a baseball bat and kneecap Aldo? You had to kill him because you thought you were a tough guy in the bar, Sammy, and Aldo proved that you weren't tough. You walk around saying how good you are with your hands. Aldo proved you weren't that good, Sammy. And because you hated Aldo, you went back and you killed Alan Kaiser. And you didn't care who was in the way. And the guy that was with you on that hit, pretty much you killed him, Louis Melito. And I don't even want to call it a hit. Is that really a hit, James? That's a murder. That's a
it was personal vengeance. He got permission supposedly for it, but yeah, it's more of a revenge, a vengeance, murder, and the thing is that, for me, Alan Kaiser, he was a civilian. He wasn't ever involved. what's interesting to me is I could, in some ways, maybe understand some of these other killings, but the thing on Alan Kaiser, I never can, and I just don't understand why he can't just talk to the family. Just show some compassion and just show that, because that shouldn't have happened. That's not Cosa Nostra for someone to be getting killed. That's a civilian like that. That's what I don't understand.
Well, James, let me ask you this: when you talk about that's something that should be done, a family thing, let's say,
Yeah.
why would he respect Alan Kaiser, or why would he doesn't respect his own family?
Yeah, I mean, and he
got
doesn't
into
even
the
have to do it public. Yeah,
he
he
got
could
into the
just go.
drug business with his family.
Right.
So it's obvious if he does not care about his own family, why would he care about Alan Kaiser or Alan Kaiser's family or Louis Melito's family? Well,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to even put Alan Kaiser in the same breath as Louis Melito. They knew what life they were getting into.
Yeah.
Right? Alan Kaiser didn't know what life that he was getting into. He didn't know nothing about Sammy Gravano. Sammy just drove up on him because he was angry because he got beat up and he had a little and I lost the fight because of the broken ankle. I bet you he didn't even have a broken ankle. Sammy says he had a broken ankle,
I'm with you on that because you need to. I mean, that's the thing is that even if you look at, you could maybe excuse him, for the other stuff, the other murders. I mean, I'm not saying it's right at all. I'm just saying that in Cosa Nostra, those guys knew what they were getting into, but Alan Kaiser didn't. And, the family doesn't have any closure. And that's why it keeps on being brought up, nearly 50 years later, is because they've been grieving for so long and they can't get justice.
And the whole thing with Aldo was a myth. Aldo was not in a biker's gang. That was a lie.
Yeah, we
Aldo
found out who he was in.
That night he went to kill 2 civilians. Aldo was not even in the life.
Yeah, he was in the King Highways Boys. That was a gang. That wasn't a biker gang. He wasn't in the life.
Yeah, the King Highway Boys were around for years and years and years. James.
They were
from the beginning of the 19th century. It was just different kids with different names, but they were kids that hung out from groups, like especially with King Highways. King Highways is got several different, like you got the blacks, the Puerto Ricans, the Jewish. It's like they all had their own gangs.
Yeah, you had East and West.
They just all had their own gangs. I'm very familiar with King's Highway and that gang situation there. And sure, some people, but they weren't mobsters.
No, they did mostly graffiti and that type of stuff. So
this guy made a choice that night that it had nothing to do with the mob. This was Sammy being all fucking butthurt because he fights like a girl.
Yeah, it was personal vengeance. It was, definitely revenge on what happened at the bar.
This is a guy that Teddy Atlas said that he would order his fighters or to let Sammy beat him up in the ring just to make Sammy feel good. Teddy Atlas said that. So he went to Gleason's gym or wherever he went and worked out or fought. Go in there with Sammy. This is a guy that's a legend in his own mind. He's a tiny little man. He suffers from the Napoleon complex and screaming and yelling and getting other people to kill for you. It's like when I drove, he didn't come after me. His goofy son came after me. So he didn't do it, and it's like, it's all BS. Sammy is a fraud. Was he John Gotti's underboss? Absolutely. Did he change history by lying about stories? Absolutely. That's why he hates Mikey Scars so much, because Mikey Scars calls him out. He would tell Mikey Scars the same thing. You don't think that he would want to kill Mikey Scars?
Right. Oh yeah. I'm sure.
If he had the opportunity, he would kill Mikey Scars. He would kill anybody that's embarrassing him, James. So it's like, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. This is who he is until the day he dies. He'll probably tell someone when he's laying on his bed and he's taking his last breath. He'll say something negative to somebody. And if If he's all about God, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that when someone accept God, there's a change. There has to be a change in life. That's where I come from. I mean, it's more than just saying you found God.
Well, that's why I don't say it, because what do they say that would Jesus would prefer the cup full, not half full.
Right.
Half full is you're more cynical, or empty. He'd prefer the cup empty. But when you're in the middle there, you're really not. But he's not even in the middle. This guy is like, this guy knows damn well. And then he tells stories like like he got sick and had an hallucination that God came see you. That wasn't God. That was Lucifer. You know, that was Lucifer. He's going in the retirement, Sammy. You're going to take over his throne. Yeah, James. So he's full of crap. He's not going to, anything you say, anything Sammy says is BS. Sammy's just a mean, evil man, and he will have his day, and it's going to come soon, and he's not going to like where he ends up. So, Sammy, you're going where you pretend you're not going. And as we get older, our clock runs. That's when we got to change as human beings. There's no change in this man whatsoever, especially when he talks like that.
Lee, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for. I figured you would be the one person that would have firsthand experiences with Sammy and could speak about this.
I appreciate it, my man. Thank you very much.
Okay, everyone. Thank you again. I just ask that you hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't to Real Mob Stories with James Proctor, and look forward to your comments. Until next time, God bless you.